Ohio State got a major boost when Amare Bynum decided to run it back with the Buckeyes in the upcoming season.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Jay Stevens, and during this hardwood huddle, we will discuss what's next on Jake Diebler's to-do list as he's trying to put a strong roster together for next season. But first, the Buckeyes have been working to try to solidify a strong core of players that played last year, so they are Buckeyes in the future. And one of them decided to run it back with the Buckeyes in the upcoming season. His name is Amare Bynum, and this is a major, major move and win for Ohio State in the offseason, where some players like Devin Royal are showing their intention to enter the portal when it opens next month. And while that's one player that's a starter that played 30-plus games for the Buckeyes this year, there's a reason why Royal is deciding to leave. It's also a major reason why Amare Bynum is comfortable staying at Ohio State. He got emerged this year as a Buckeye star. He didn't start the year as a starter. He got thrown into a starting lineup, and then Brandon Knoll got hurt. The next thing you know, you didn't want to take Amare Bynum off the court. He was the fifth leading scorer for the team this year at 9.7 points a game, second on the team in most rebounds a game at 4.9. So those numbers don't really pop out at you and say, ooh, he's a guy that was just a dynamic piece for the Buckeyes. Because you watch the basketball, it was very clear that it seemed like he was a third leading scorer for Ohio State this year, that he was the leading rebounder at times for Ohio State this year, because his productivity and his energy and effort all was on the court was just evident, and it was clear that he was a guy that Jake Diebler could trust. And that's also Jake Diebler. I mean, I'm going to continue to be very critical of him when I need to be, but right now when I look at this roster and you think about next year and being able to keep buying them, it surely seems like John Mobley Jr. is going to stick around too. Haven't seen a formal announcement from him yet, but it's hard for me to see a guy that's fueled for next year and it has a bad taste in his mouth after the TCU loss will look at that loss and say, I need to go somewhere else, when Mobley Jr. is going to be the man. This is going to be a great 1, 2, 3 punch. I mean, he's a great – the Buckeyes should have a big 3, potentially a big 4, depending on who they get at point guard and who they get to solidify the middle for the Buckeyes next season. But Amare Bynum was a guy you had to keep. Financially, you had to figure out how to make it happen. With the other players that are there, knowing that you can build around Bynum, you had to make it happen. And for Jake Diebler, a man that is trying to break snap another drought next year of not making it to the Sweet 16. Like the last time the Buckeyes made it that far in the tournament was in 2013. Gosh, as I say that, that's a really long time ago. You have to think that Jake Diebler realizes the importance of keeping Amare Bynum around. And you as a Buckeye fan, I'm sure you're pretty excited too, because you're trying to figure out how the Buckeyes are going to put a roster together, knowing in this day and age of college basketball, everybody could leave. The Buckeyes are very fortunate that they don't have many seniors on last year's team. Christoph Tilley, Brandon Knoll, Bruce Thornton. Those are these seniors. They celebrated them on senior day. That's it. Yeah, Josh O, I believe, is technically in his fourth year, but he got a red shirt because he didn't play this past season, so he is still there. But outside of that, the Buckeyes don't have a lot of older guys. They're not losing a lot of talent. I would anticipate Gabe Cupps might hit the portal. Colin White might hit the portal. Puff Johnson, the senior too. I forgot to mention him earlier. But you got to think some of these guys, they didn't really play that much. Braylon Nash might hit the portal. Like, there are guys on the team that might hit the portal. Taysom Chapman, he can also hit the portal. There are guys on the team that might hit the portal. And Diebler understands that. Diebler knows the way that college basketball is, and he also understands it's not easy to put a roster together. When you have a core piece of last year's team, a guy that was not only a star, I mean, Amare Bynum could be a two-and-done kind of guy. He can play next year. He could probably average 15 and 12. This is no exaggeration. Averaging 15 and 12 for him would be a massive, massive win. Go off to the NBA. If he averages 18 to 20 and 12 rebounds a game, 18 to 20 points and 12 rebounds a game, that's a massive win. But also that's Diebler being a good coach. I don't know where to put Jake Diebler when it comes to the upper echelon of coaches in college basketball. I'm not the highest on him. I give him credit because he did help Ohio State get to the tournament this year. But outside of that, I've seen rotation failures. We have seen players not be ready to play. He's been open about not having guys ready to play in the Michigan game. I believe it was the second one, the one that was in the shot. And so when that's the reality of the situation, well, it's not really great for a coach like him, but you have to learn from your mistakes. One mistake that Ohio State has made, not just under Diebler, but also under Chris Holtmann, was not really figuring out how to get big guys to play big. First, getting them on the roster and then developing them to play very, very big. Zed Key was good, but when Zed Key lost about 25 LBs, he wasn't the same player, and it hurt Ohio State. Felix Alpara was a project, really good young player, had some raw talent, but of course they lost out on a payday. And I don't think Ohio State basketball should lose out on a payday when you really want a guy of that caliber. The funds are there. We see what happens with the football team. The funds are there at Ohio State. You just have to give them to Diebler to use. And Diebler, I'm sure, used some funds. I don't know the NIL, that money that Bynum is going to make. I don't really care. What we care about is that he's staying. He's a big piece of the core for the Buckeyes next year, and he can be a big piece of a big three or even big four for the Buckeyes to get better next season, have back-to-back 20-win seasons, and make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. To make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, Jake Diebler has to make sure that he follows the order of operation to make sure that everything on his to-do list is checked off. But what's next on Jake Diebler's to-do list right now in the offseason? We will answer that question after the break. This is Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. This is moving the game forward by Mazda. For those who know the score, never tells the whole story. And of course, this week's moving the game forward players, once again, Amare Bynum. I don't know what else to say about the young man. He's a star for the Buckeyes. He's a core piece for the Buckeyes next season. That Diebler can get guys out of the portal to build around and to try to shape the roster around guys like Bynum, what he does very well. Fifth on the team in points, second on the team in rebounds per game. When you saw him, it seemed like there were times that he was the third leading scorer and the leader in rebounds, because that's how much bounce, that's how much energy he played with every time he was on the court. There's more to these players than the highlights. The early mornings, late night runs, constantly showing up for their squad on and off the court. The all-new Mazda CX-5 moves the same way, with more space to connect, a bold new design, and a more intuitive technology, so you can stay connected to the road in every position you play. The all-new Mazda CX-5, more to move every side of you. This episode is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Praise, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft. And once again, it's a day that ends in Y. And everyone knows if that's the case, my number one pick is going to be cherry. It has a classic red fruit profile. It is bright, has a punchy taste. It is smooth and easy to recognize. Now, there are flavors that I've been kind of sleeping on, and I think a lot of you may be sleeping on them too. But don't you fear. I'm here to let you know that you can't continue to sleep on cotton candy. It has a delicious swirl of sugary clouds, a fruity twist, a hint of vanilla, has the sweet side of tasty caffeine, a throwback flavor with a boost. It is light, has an airy not candle, profile. Find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. This episode is also brought to you by Supply House. You wouldn't show up on game day without a plan, and you wouldn't show up to a job without the right parts. That's why putting Supply House in your starting lineup is always the right call. Here are the stats. 300,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products, 500 tried and true brands, and 90% of the country is in the 1 to 2 day delivery zone. Need a last minute coupling, a compressor, a press tool? They've got it, and they'll get it to you quickly. They are clutch. If you're a pro in the trades, you can join the MVP of reward programs and become a trade master. Pros get exclusive member-only pricing, priority shipping, industry-leading customer service, and it's all absolutely free. Visit supplyhouse.com/trademaster to learn more about becoming a trade master. Use promo code SH5College for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com/trademaster. Promo code SH5College. Supply House, real people, real service. Thank you for tapping into this bonus episode of Locked on Buckeyes and for making this show your first listen of the day. We are chugging along right now and having some temporary recording areas with the temporary sound and the video quality, but we're still moving on along. And as we move along with this show, that's one thing Jake Diebler has to do this offseason. Move along to make sure the Buckeyes aren't just staying where they currently are, but that they're working to get better. As I look at this team and the guys that are leaving and the guys that are staying, Thornton's gone, Tilly is gone, Brandon Knoll is gone, Puff Johnson is gone. It seems like Josh O, who transferred to Ohio State before last year, is going to stick around. So that's a big man, 6'10", 230. He missed the entire year due to an injury. Devin Royal's gone. He was a starter last year. That leaves John Mobley, Amare Bynum. Those are the two core pieces. You can't forget the incoming small forward in Anthony Thompson out of Hudson, Ohio. He's probably going to be replacing Devin Royal in the starting lineup. So you have your 2, 3, and 4 positions locked up, which means that Jake Diebler needs to go to the portal and get quality players that are, as one is a point guard and one is a big man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those are the first priorities on his list. Yeah, you want to solidify Colin White, I wouldn't even solidify Gay Cups. Let him just walk onto the portal. Like, I'm not even worried about that at all. If you are, okay, cool. Hit a couple big shots late in the season, had a big shot in the tournament, had a big shot in the Big Ten tournament as well. And so, like, yeah, he does some big things. But as far as one shot here, one shot there. But overall, Gay Cups was not a guy that was a highly productive player when he played. The bench at Ohio State was pretty poor. It's one of the most embarrassing things about Ohio State. Yes, Ivan's probably going to stay, but I don't believe that Ivan should start. I have not seen anything from him as he's been developed to say that Ivan should be a starter. I haven't. So Jake Diebler has to go to the portal, get a point guard and a center that are quality starters right away that can provide a major impact for Ohio State. And when it comes to the big man, make sure he's a big man, not just a tall man. He can be tall and slender, but make sure that he is the kind of big man that can not only be big for the Buckeyes in the non-conference slate, but big during Big Ten basketball. You have watched the NCAA tournament, and you have seen teams make it to the Sweet 16, to the Elite Eight, to the Final Four. And if you look at them, what are you going to find? They have big men that play big, that are athletic, that can be stretch fives, that can block shots, that can make free throws, that are real big men. Then that's what's needed in college basketball right now. Yes, you still need really good lead guards, and John Mobley is more of a 2 than a 1. But if he has to run the point, I believe he can get it done and allow his scoring ability to help him lead, orchestrate the Buckeyes offense. Get a big man. You absolutely have to. And you have to dig deep into your pocket to get him. Make sure you're following the rules, while also going out there to secure the guy or players that could be big pieces of the Buckeyes next season. Got a good core in Mobley, Bynum, and Thompson. You got to go out there and get your point guard and your center to have a strong starting 5 next year. Thank you all for tapping into this bonus episode of Locked on Buckeyes. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked on Buckeyes on a Tuesday. We'll see you next time.